we benefit, we learn and make progress. And when you are sitting for exams next year, make use of those skills. Today, we have an objective to achieve, one being that a paper was done last week. Are you aware? Boys, are you aware that your Form 4 did a paper?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So that paper is what you're seeing on the screen now. The paper 2, especially the one that gave boys a really challenge. We had these serious issues. And it's one of the papers I want us to make a quick look at among the objectives. Number 2, I think we had two questions from last week. You remember? You remember, boys? You don't? Okay. I think we had 2 issues last week, if I'm not wrong. And let me share that. Now, let's start with that last week's issue. Then we proceed with this week. Let me share the screen again. So I'm sharing a blank Excel sheet onto your screen as we review that. Yeah, got that. I hope you can all see the screen. Can you confirm?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I remember who had asked last week about forms, and we said you might be asked to create a form. There's no limitation in setting. It is within your syllabus. Anything that is in your syllabus can be set at N level. Therefore, we need to clear up any backlog on that. Forms was one of them, and we can use an example of data such as this. Let's type 3 names there. So I have some sample data on the screen, and maybe for quick demonstration, I don't want to take much time on this one. We can try to presume that this is the data we have, and in this data, we need to fill up the data using a form. So what do we do? Who can maybe tell us a quick one? How do we make sure that we can use forms to enter data? Just like in Excel, we said forms are used for making a very smart interface between you and the computer. You can enter data. The same issue with this. So what do we do? How do you do to start using forms? Was an idea? Okay, without wasting time, very quickly. So we use forms, and previous versions of Excel contained forms right here on the menu. But the latter versions, I think I'm using 2013 version, and I don't know which one is installed in your computer. And I would wish you have a pen and a paper. I hope you have one. Do you?
Okay.
Boys, do you have somewhere to write?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great. That's important. We don't want to waste time. Not somewhere you go and this is a practical subject. You have to do it yourself. Okay, so the later versions therefore don't have that menu here. We just have to add it very quickly, and you can use the more menu options. Let's use this one. Can you see my cursor? Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So click to show more commands, and if possible, add more commands, because the forms command is not available here by default. So you have to add it. Therefore, click more commands. I hope you can see my cursor. And then look for forms here, but most probably if you have not used it, you can't find it there. You have to go in and get it. Okay. So you can show all commands such that you can able to see it. We can search, to do quick search, press letter F or the first letter of what you're searching for. F. So this is a quick way of locating it. You can search for the command. This is FI. Should be the next one. I hope you can see forms. Can you all see it on your screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then you click on add. Look at where we are adding it to. Click on add. We are adding it to the quick link of, you can see save add. So click on OK. You can notice it here. It's right here. Okay, so we are all following up this point, right?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, so once you select your data, and by default, we talked about AI engines. If you click anywhere in the data, click on forms, the AI engine may automatically determine how your data is. You can see it is already determined. We have got a name and class as the fields, the like. And notice that to enter new data, just click on new type. Let's say the other person is called Amos, class 2D. When you press enter, you can see that record says added into the main data as provides you a good interface which you can use to add that. Name, let me call it maybe Ephraim, and then Ephraim in class 2A. When you press enter, the record is added into your data, so it's easier for you to add. Is that point clear? You're closing that?
Yes.
Understood? Very well. Thank you.
Yes.
The other point I said we'll clarify this week, because of time, is in terms of validation. Let's say we have name, class, and fees paid. So you may want the data entered not to pass some values. For example, what if the fees paid cannot be more than 200 shillings? So you can add some validations. And I think we get it from data menu. It's a data aspect. So from data menu, select the region you want to validate. You're following?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So once you've selected the area, from data menu, look for validation, data validation, and then you can select the validation. Look at what you see on your screen. There is settings, input message, error alert. Settings, you can say currently what is supposed to allow?
Any value.
Any value.
Any value. But you can go ahead and say allow only date. So nothing else can be entered. And then even the period between. So in this case, if it's both fees, you can say a whole number, for example, that must be between minimum of maybe 10 bob to maximum of 100. I mean 200, assuming that's the maximum you can enter. And then there's an error message. What happens if somebody enters a value that is not within? So input message is fees values between of 10 to 200. You can put an error in case somebody fails to meet that validation rules. That's very important. The word validation, I'll be explaining it later. So fees entry, you can say fees entry must be between 10 and 200. So you've set that. When you as soon as you put a cursor, there's a guide message based on the input value. If you put there 400, press enter, it will tell you there's an error. You can see that. But if you try, you're given another chance. If you put there 150, it accepts. Sorry. That one, it can accept the values. Is that point clear?
Yes.
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 Very good. So note it somewhere, you go and try it yourself. We want you to go and practice it and make sure that you can do it yourself at your own time. I don't think there's any other more pending question from last week. We can proceed to today's week data. Unless you have one. So I've switched to today's work. So boys that are just ahead of you by 1 year have been preparing for 4 years. And what they got at the end of the 4 years is a paper like the one you're seeing on your screen now. So our question is, suppose it was your time, could you have scored everything? Could you have scored the right marks to enable you get your clean A? That's what I want us to go through. But first, I want someone to read for us the instruction number 1. Go ahead.
Write your name and index number at the top right corner of each of the papers provided for printing.
Excellent. I always say paper 2 is instructions. Right from the front page. You'll be surprised there are students who will forget to write this. You don't have to type it. You've told to write it. So even if something is not printable, take a pen, look at that side. It is top right hand corner of each paper. You'll see some writing at the center. You'll see some putting on the left, others forgetting to write altogether. In instruction number 2.
Write your name and index number on the CD or removable storage medium provided.
Excellent. That I don't think we have a big issue. I've never seen that error. Number 3.
Write the name and version of the software used for each question attempted in the printouts used.
So this is very important. Most of you forget to do this. Even during the paper 3 marking, we had 2 boys whose work could not be marked because maybe, and I use these words, maybe when they were at home, they might have used a different version than what's available in the school compound. So what happens when you're marking? You can't see the work. So we had to send it to be converted, be brought back for marking. The same thing in your KCSE. Instruction number 3. Ensure you write down the version of the software used. They are not going to send you the CD back to your school to go and check which version is this before they can help you. People have got limited time. People want to mark the highest number of papers. And therefore, nobody's likely to waste a lot of time trying to help contact, a seed which cannot be opened to be marked. So we agree, you write the version. So look at the version, you're likely to use a common version because you'll be using our laboratories. But we agree, write the version. And most applications, when you open them, you will see the version right there when you're opening. You will see which it is Microsoft Office 2016. You will see it's Microsoft Office 2010, Microsoft Word 2010. You will see it right there as you open, and I don't think it will be a challenge on that as you open it. Next, answer all questions. This is a new thing also. Those of your fellow students who did exams the previous years, we used to have more questions than this. You used to have one compulsory question, and then you choose two other questions from the other set. Unfortunately, now you only have two compulsory questions, so there are no more choosing, which means you must be fluent in DTP, fluent in Excel, fluent in Microsoft Word or Access, because a question comes from Access. This time around, you have no choice, so that you skip that one and do one from DTP that you're comfortable with. Is that point clear?
Oh,
Yes.
Very good. Now let's proceed to the next question here. Number F, password should not be used. I know some have been practicing that. I've used that. And even during this year's case, you see the boys who are doing exam right now. We had a boy who forgot his password. He had done his project. He put a password thinking was protecting it. Then he forgot the password he had put in his project. I wish we could be able to get him to share experiences so that we don't have a similar case during KCSE or any other time. But the point is clear. I believe that. The other parts about the printouts, that's not a big issue. I don't think you'll have a problem with that. But instructions are important. Write the version of the software, write your names, position indicated right hand corner. Don't leave anything taken care of. So question 1 was coming from which application is this? Which package is this?
Word processor.
Word
Microsoft Word.
It's a word processor. It's a word processing. Microsoft Word is simply one of the word processors you can make use of. That's the difference. So it means you can actually use OpenOffice Write. You can use WordPerfect. You can use WordStar or any other. That is the intention of the examination council. Is a word processor, but you can use any. Now, let's look at the expectation. Open word processing program and create the following document. As it appears, you save it as network. You remember these instructions we said earlier? The name to save with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to remember that always. It is interesting that even as I do this, in your first exam that I will give you as you guys come back, we still have the same problem. I think we will change the method of doing that. You miss the name, we give you a 0 on that. Maybe that will prepare you well for KCSE. Because it's sad if you are passing, somebody's doing his KCSE, you look at the paper and someone is saved it using his name. It's very painful. You can't take 4 years and you're doing the same thing, same mistakes. That is something that we should work on that. We should check that. Very important. Please don't. I want to insist that. That's why I'm trying to put emphasis on that. Use the correct name. We gave you work. Around 4 or 5 of you did not save using the right name. So if it was in KCSE, you must have lost so much on that. Now, I'm not going to type this document, but I'll pick the specific items to be marked on. Are you ready? We start? You ready? We start?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share
Yes.
the entire screen so that you can able to see the expectation. And that's so new share screen. So here you can see a Word document. I've created a new blank document to help. It is. So let's see, what is the first thing that is tested? Who can tell us the style, the format, anything that you can see that is being tested? Let me see if you can be examiners. The first thing.
Bold and underline.
Very good. There's bold and underline. But even before you talk about bold and underline, the first thing is you must know how to type. Sindio? Sindio Ivo?
Yes.
Yes, you must know how to type. Typing speed, let me call it that. It's important. We've been showing you how to type, and we installed some applications when you were in Form 1. There was an application there called Mavis Beacon. How many know about it? Have you heard about it?
No.
You never? We also gave you something called Cranny's Typing Tutor. Did you ever hear about it?
Yes.
So
Yeah, some of you must have seen it installed. There are many others. They are not only these applications, there are many other applications you can use to train on how to type. They help you measure a number of things. The speed, accuracy are the most important things to monitor. And remember, we said when you are supposed to transit from Form 1 to Form 2, what speed did we say was expected?
35.
Yes, 35. Very good. We call it at 5 words per minute. So some of you may take it for granted. I'm not going to be a secretary. Why do I have to know how to type? Why do I need speed? But you are a student who are learning right now. So listen and you're advised. Ensure you improve your speed. Mmesikia nyote?
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please do that, because I can assure you, as simple as this paper was, we had students who had caused us a big headache. I don't want to share now online. A very serious headache because of speed, because of typing. I don't want it to appear again. I don't want it anywhere near your class. I'm trying to see one of that. So even if you don't have this application installed, I want to show you very quickly. I'm trying to open a blank application. So if you go online and type Cranny's Typing Tutor, you can see an application which you can download and use it to practice. So you have no reason to say you don't know where to get it. Just Cranny's Typing Tutor or Mavis Beacon. I think those are the ones I've just typing online. Even these days, we have got some that you can even do online. Which can teach you how to type through games, through what. So I think that message is clear. Improve that. Number 2, therefore, you can now come to what you just said in terms of bold and underline. That is no big issue. Senior. That one, I don't think we have a person who has a problem with that. I'm trying to see where the document is. It's right here. Computer networks. So what I expect on this is, sorry, networks. is example. Therefore, you just type it, you learn how to center it and how to bold it and how to underline it. Those are many things that I put together, and don't leave any for granted. I think that is very clear. All of us are in the picture on that. Number two, let's go to the point number 2. What else do you think is being tested besides the bold or underline, centered? And we said you can use shortcuts like centering. For example, you can use Control E for center, Control R, Control L. When holding Control key, E is for center, and make sure you can use all that. You can know when to use and improve your speed of doing that. Don't waste too much time trying to look for icons and commands, and you've got only 2 hours to finish everything on that. Next item that is tested, very quick, let's try to be faster. What else?
Use of bullets.
Bullets and numbering. So I don't think there's a big issue with the. I don't think there's a big issue with the bullets. That one everyone can do it. Senor?
Yes.
That's correct. I also want to note something about the
Yes.
font type. Which font type is this?
Times New Roman.
Times New Roman. Very important. Some are forgetting this. Now, if you open a new document and start typing, which font is this that is coming in by default?
Calibri.
Very good. So many students forgot that the default text is not Times Roman. Earlier versions of Office, that is Office 2000, Office 97, Office 207 and others, the default font was Times Roman. So if you open and start typing, it was Times Roman. But look, the examiner has specified that you're going to have it in exactly as it appears. Therefore, you must change the font. I hope that point is clear also, before you can you satisfy what the examiner wants. What else? Next, let's move faster.
Italicizing.
Yeah.
Spacing.
Strike.
I can't hear. I can't hear what you said.
Strike through.
Strike through. Very good. Strike through is important. Who doesn't know how to use strike through?
Me.
Okay, you are. Sorry, I didn't hear who you are. Could be Derek or somebody. Okay, I mean, could be, I think, Material, I don't know. But the point is, once you select your text to be stricken through, remember to select a word you double click. Senor, you are aware of that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you double click, select a word, and then you can use the font settings. They are here. We have shortcuts for most of the items there. The font size, the type, change case, superscript, subscript, but strike through is also found here. But the easiest you can use is from the font, click to show more. You can see where my cursor is.
Yes.
Yeah, under font, look at that cursor. So you might be in your exam and you don't see it here. That's why I want to recommend at this point. Click at this point on, and then you can see strike through. It is there. Yes, sir. No, you just share, sir. Just share. Kwa sababu ukisha share, nobody else can share. I've made it that way. Once you share, nobody else can share. Is there a student sharing? Oh, that's in agriculture, right? Just a second, I'll check on that. Okay. So, kila mtu amejua how to use strike through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So next exam might not be strike through, but it might be double strike through. You can also find it right there. So if you want to have two of them, it's important to expect that now that they have asked about this, your next exam might be something near there. It could even be something else related to what we described. So important to learn about them all, including text effects. If you can see my screen very well. Where you can play with things like the shadow, outlook, and like glow. All these are part of the expectation to learn on that. The size, blur, and the like. It is all part of the effects on the text. How do you want your text to be affected on that? The next thing that is being tested is the indentation. Look at the bullet section. Look at the text. There's a space between. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, this is very important for you to note. It is part of the marking, because by default, if you open a Word document and say sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, and then you use the numbering. Sorry, that one is bullets. Bullets. Use bullets. Let's say that, for example, and notice that even those bullets have a font. It's important to note that important. So the space between the bullets and this does not equal to what the examiner expects. So it means we must know how to separate the bullets and the content. Is there anyone who doesn't know how to do that? How do we separate these two such that the gap exists to score those marks? So everyone knows how to do it?
No.
No.
Okay, a quick one. Therefore, look at my cursor. I'm taking it to the ruler, on the horizontal ruler at the top. Can you see there?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Look at what I'm pointing at. You can see the words I've just displayed.
Hanging indent.
Hanging indent. Very good. So click on that hanging indent. You can actually adjust how far your text can be from the bullets. So if you've been told, you can choose that. But more importantly, you can even double click that hanging indent, and you can play it. You can type a specific number. For example, you can be told it should be 1.2 inches or 1.2 centimeters, or click on that, click on OK. It will give you the exact distance. Point clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Let's proceed again.
Yes, sir.
Next point is what's the next thing that is being tested? What is this? Hey. Boys, you have no idea.
Page layout.
Layout, really? Not really. It's right there on the screen. And don't be surprised. Your KCSE may be replicated like this, but we know something else. Could be a logo or something else. This is graphics now. You moved into graphics. How well can you integrate graphics into your work? How well can you integrate this? This is what you're being tested on. So I'm going to move into Word and see how we can start developing or getting into this expectation. The first thing is learning how to use your various shapes provided, lines and the like. Because you are in an exam room, you open a paper and you're told, make something like this. You only have your computer with you. So you must know how to come up with something like this. And that is where graphics coming in. So I'm going to open that. The first thing I want us to note is how do we get to graphics? There are two ways you can draw. You can pick from the gallery. And if you're picking from the gallery, you should check which one is closest to your need. And in marking, we don't look at the exact, but the intention. The learners tried to look for something similar. And if you see from the basic shapes, I can even see a shape like this and draw it. Don't you see we got it? So you're just picking it and make sure you format it accordingly. Look at the default one. It has a blue color and this border. Is that what you expect from the question paper?
No, sir.
No.
Not at all. So we must know how to change the inside and the outline border of the same. And how do we change that? How do we make sure that it doesn't have the color that is not part of the question paper?
Go to shape and style.
Very good. So you can go to shape fill or shape products. Remember, you're under format. As soon as you click on it, you have a new menu. Are you seeing on the toolbars? If you click outside, it disappears. But as soon as you click on the object, the format options available are meant to format this. So among the things to change is the fill color, and it's already here. Change it to white or none. There's nothing there. The outline the same. I think we have a black one on that. So you're coming closer to expectation. What else? After putting the shape that we want, and what if the shape we wanted is not there? What do we do?
You can draw it yourself.
You can draw it manually. You can draw it. Very good. That is also advisable. If you move into your document, you don't find the shape you want, you can even go ahead and try and draw it. There are many ways you can draw. You can pick these tools here. You can draw some shapes. You can draw a shape you want. And you get a shape. So the examiner will see that you've tried to bring exactly. We are not doing a ruler by ruler measurement, but it's the intention. You can add that. Very good. Let's proceed again. What are we supposed to do next? Something else being tested? So putting text inside that graphic, which you also learn. And if you have any of these graphics, you can right click and work with your text, add text, then you can type inside. If it is the earlier text, if the earlier graphic we had, let me bring it on board. We can still add text right here, sorry. Right click on this graphic. And can you see the words add text?
Yes.
You can see that. Yes. And then you type. Now, who can tell me why what I'm typing, nothing is being visible? What's happening? Why is it that I'm typing and nothing happens?
The text color is
Text color.
white.
Excellent. So select it, change this to color of your choice. But now, except with black. Very well. The internet. And then you can center, do anything you want. Next item. So we need to know how to play with the rest of the items within your work. And I want you to be keen on this. You have different shapes, you have got lines and the like. So you're being tested. And you know you have got only 2 hours to do all this question plus the other question that is ahead, which was also not an easy one. Therefore, speed matters and how quickly you can do that. We said, number 1, look for the graphic that you want. If you don't get it, try and create one. So in your Word document, first thing is try to get a shape from your library of shapes. Check if you can see it. You get something like that. You can draw it. It may not have the characteristics you want. We said go ahead and change it to make sure that it satisfies your need with appearance. When you have it, you can play with it the way you want. You can rotate it, you can turn it around. You want 4 of them, you can have 1 there. Hold Control key. Are we there? If you hold Control key, you can place, you can drag and do as many as you want. I want another one there, another one there. And you can rotate them the way you want. You can play with them the way you want, how you want them placed on that. And then you need a text in them, you do the same thing. Right click and add text or combine with graphics. Let me use an example like this one here. Add text and say, let me call it block A. Oops, my text color mentioned that. Call it block A. Block. So you can have your shapes the way you want. Make sure they fit. Move to the next one. Still add text C. Oops. So the default setting for color might be different. Always consider that. Point clear?
Yes.
For lines, the same. Pick lines and join them the way you want. Pick a line, join them the way you want. So if you are being tested on how you can make use of the graphics in that. I think that point is very clear. I don't think we can take more time on that. Let's move to something else. Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Aren't we supposed to be doing it the way it has been drawn?
Yes. I said do it the way it's supposed to be. I'm only showing you how to do it. Actually, make sure you make it exact. I'm only telling you how to get this, how to get the blocks, how to get your work done. So if you want to make it exact, just go ahead and precise. Now you're starting to do exactly as it is, because you have your paper here and you're doing it exactly as it is. And where you don't get what you need, you can even combine text. Use insert things like a text editor, a text box. Type the text you want. Let me say, for example, pan. Remove the outline, no fill, and then attach it the way you want. You understand what I mean, boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What I'm showing you is how to do it. We are running concepts. These are various concepts being displayed. So once you know the concept like this, you can turn it. So what you need to know is how do you turn this shape to be exact way it's supposed to be.
No.
I don't think so, because now you know how to do the shape, you know how to type the text, you know how to rotate the text, move it, and make sure it fits the way you. So you can play with it. You are the one in control now. Yes, Nimrod.
Could you repeat the way you type the word pan?
Okay. Let me delete it. We said you can use a text box from insert menu. You can see the words text box here. Click on it and then draw text box. You can see those words. Insert menu, text box, and then draw text box. Then drag to draw the box. So this box can carry text any. I typed the pan and made sure that I resize it to fit properly, not waste much space. Then remove the items about it. The items, I mean, this shape could be having a fill color. Could have been having a color like this one. It could be having a border that is dotted, name them. So now it's you to change it to make sure that it doesn't have anything. That's why I said, once you select it, under format, the fill to be no fill. You can see where my cursor is, no fill. What about the line border? No outline. So it becomes like it's a text holder. So until you click it, now you can move it the way you want. Place it whenever you want. Rotate it the way you want. Got it? Okay, great. Any other question? Okay. So you proceed further. What is being texted here next?
Use of column.
Okay, let's proceed further. So what is being tested here? I want us to see how quick we can get that. Number one. Number one.
Numbering and using of bullets.
Numbering, bullets. Number two.
Column.
Columns, very good. Columns. And even now breaking out from columns. So I want us to demonstrate very quickly using the same types of physical topology. I can type something else. I don't have to type everything. This is what I expect you in an exam room. I'll do another page, Control Enter. Okay. So if you're typing, let me call this one types of networks. Network topologies. Once you type this, we want it centered. I'm sure you're following the instructions. Give it the shape it wants in terms of that. But as soon as we center it, as soon as we center it, I take my cursor back. You can start columns now. So always start with the title, if possible. Press enter, start your first column. What does your first column contain? Star topology. So let's have a star topology. And then let's have the bullets for first, hub and easy. So first hub, let me just have troubleshoot like that. Now, this is our heading. I think it's supposed to be underlined and bold. But remember, we have not gone to the next column. So this one is also bulleted. It is, yeah, it's bulleted. It is, you can pick any. So while everything else remain constant in terms of what you said, you must know how to adjust the location. Earlier on, I just showed you how to separate the bullets from the numbers. Do you remember how we did it? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Use of horizontal rule.
This time round,
Yes.
this time round, you want to move the entire context, the numbering plus the bullets, move them together. How do you do that? Because look at this. Let's look at the icon. Look at where the word star is. This is important. Look at this alignment here. S corresponds to the buttons, the bullets. Can you notice that? Confirm
Yes.
bullets. Can you confirm that? Good. But when you look at what we've just typed using a word processor, look at where the star is, look at where the bullet is. So how do we move the entire content such that it matches? Because if you try to move a margin, everything moves. Can you see that? So what do?
We move the upper indentation in the
Really? Okay, if I move the upper, look at what happens. Can you see what's happening? Yeah. So if you've already adjusted your content and you say you are hearing very well. Hey, is someone making noise? Nimrod. No, it's Coach Gay, Victor. Okay. So when you look at this very well, if you hold this, you move the hanging indent, you separate the two. Are you following?
Yes.
Yeah. But look at what happens if you hold this. Are you seeing the difference?
Yes.
So if you hold the smaller box at the bottom, you have the power to move the entire, both the bullets and the content, which means you've already adjusted the distance. Now you can place it where you want exactly that. And if you want to adjust only one side, move this side. Suppose that question comes, can you all get it right, boys?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So next is, remember this is a column we are starting, and therefore we have typed up to this point here. What follows is the next column for ring topology. How do we move next to the next column? How do we proceed to the next side of the column? How do we? My cursor is right here. I finished typing. So how do we move it to the next side of the column? The column also has got a line between. Hope you can see the line between. There's a line there. So when the cursor is at the end of this, we need to move it to the next side of it. And there's no better place to get it than the page layout. If you're looking at my screen, you can see page layout and then break. You can use this for break, and then just under breaks, what have I highlighted?
Column.
So this can take you to the next column, which is okay, can break. Alternatively, still under columns, you can see it right there. You can click on columns and work on what you want, number of columns, line between, and the like. But first, you have to select or determine where the work is, because look, I have not highlighted and stated where this work starts from. So if you start columns at this point, you will mess up everything in your work, because there is work before and there is also work after. Can you notice that? Before the column, there's some work before. You notice that? And after columns, there is some work after. This is very important. And those of you who are in class, when you were learning, we learned about using this point forward. So I want us to go through method 1 and then method 2. Then you remember which one to remember and the like. Now, method 2, you can break at this point and the like. But the first method I want is that as soon as, so I've just cut it, so I have my content. I've not lost it. As soon as we typed types of physical topologies, press enter, you introduce columns there and then. Go ahead and say columns, more columns, line, 2 columns, of course. Make sure to choose line between, but more importantly, on the section called apply to section, you choose what? Do you see that, boys?
Yes.
This point forward.
This point forward. When you choose this point forward, it means nothing else is affected prior to what you typed. So if you type that now, topologies, they'll be there. You finish typing, and when you're done, you break to the next column very easily without an issue. Break, column break. You notice the cursor is now moved to the other side of the column on that, where you can type ring topology. And then let's add like 2 items. Direction, we have, let's type something about it. Server not needed. sections. Good. So you can make this one bold lined, and look at the numbering on this. Which type of numbering is this one? For the ring topology?
Roman.
Roman. So you just have to specify that. Select it. Let's go to our numbering. Let's go to the Roman that we need, if we can see there. And then the rest, I've already shown you how to play with it. You're told exactly. When you're told exact, if there's R and the number 1, they must match that. And I've shown you how to do that. So I'm going just to do that directly. Hold the box. You have the power to move it the way you want. You don't need too much. Okay. Next is let's look at the next point from observation. We are typing as it is. So what is next here? What is being tested? And how do you transit from columns to no columns on the next side? So the first thing is, if this is the last part of your column, remember anything you type here, let me present anything I type here will always be within this. You notice that? It's been restricted to a column side, right? Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes,
need
we
to
can
end
see
with
that.
columns. So how do we do that? How do we make sure that we end and we start our
Apply column break.
click on
X.
come up again? I can't. Try again. What do you do?
You can go to columns and choose one column.
Okay. Go to columns and choose one column. Is that right? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Look what happens. It has disappeared. Have I done the right thing?
You use bricks.
Use? Let me undo.
Bricks.
Use breaks. So in the end, the columns, breaks, what do I say? Okay. Without wasting time, thank you so much for trying. The first thing to do is that ensure the cursor is at the end of your columns. Mesikiza hiyo vizuri. Stop doing anything else when the cursor, I did put the cursor here intentionally so that I can see whether you can notice where the cursor is. Before you finish up your columns, number 1, I've said, ensure the cursor is where?
At the end of the column.
As the end. Yeah, this is not the end. So look at, if you're looking at my cursor, let's follow it. Let's follow it. Make sure it's at the end. This is the end of your columns. That should be method 1. So don't confuse yourself within exam room. Number 2, you can now proceed to our columns. Then you choose more columns. Now, say it actually confirms that we have 2 columns, but now go ahead and say now choose one column, but this one column should start where? Can you see that?
Point forward.
Yes, this point forward. That's why the cursor needs to be at the end. If you say this point forward and the cursor is at the hub, what happens? What happens?
It will also be in one column.
Everything ahead of hub will be moved into one column. That's why important that make sure the cursor is at the end. Then you can do that. When you click on OK, notice where the cursor has been pushed to. Can you see that? Now, if you type here, this is a new line. Sorry, it was a numbering that was existing, so I can do away with the numbering. It's not a problem. Yep. Yeah. So this, let me see whether it stops at that point. This is a new line that I have typed, and there are no columns anymore. So it's now continuous, which is quite okay, what we wanted to achieve. The point you need to remember, make sure the cursor is at the end. Otherwise, you'll mess up your work. Or make sure also you've chosen this point forward, because by default, it might choose whole document. And therefore it distorts everything you've done on that. Very good. So what is the next item? We've already transited. We're here. What do we do next? According to exam, we're supposed to get the 43 marks. All those marks that were provided. Did you see how many marks were those? Can you see my cursor?
43 and a half.
43 and a half marks. That is a ton of marks. It's a big number of marks by simply following what you're doing step by step. Break a column to the next one, underline, adjusting, location, and the like. So we're here. What are we supposed to do? So here you're supposed to create a table. We didn't test about the table. And we said you can create a table using two methods. So remember method one for creating a table from classwork. Method one. Yes. How do you create a table? Yes, Mridi.
I think we go to references.
We use
References.
Ryan. I can't hear you very well. I think it could have been your microphone. What did you say?
Go to insert.
Insert.
The tables option.
Table. And then you pick a number of rows and columns. Very good. That is correct. That is method one. You can use insert, table, choose the table, and then specify columns. Very good. Thank you, Ryan. Method two.
Using plus and minus.
Very good. You can use plus and minus. Use a plus, put a minus, and then do a plus, do a minus, do a plus, you press enter. So you'll have your table. Then when you press the tab key on the keyboard, it creates the number of rows you want in terms of that. Very good. Now that we have a table, we need to know how many rows, how many columns. How many rows we have for this table? How many columns? How many rows? Let's have that.
5.
5 rows. How many columns?
2.
So let's use method one. Insert table. We count it from here. Number of rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of columns, you move to the right, 2. Then you click. So you have your table existing on that. If you were to use method 2, how would you do that? How would you do that? You could say there's a column and a column. So there are 2 columns in short. Press enter, and then rows 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5. So both of those give us the answer. What are we supposed to do next? We have created a table. What do? Let's write the headings. Difference between star and ring topology. So difference between star and ring topology. What do we do next? Yes?
Merge.
Merge. Very good. Merging. Merging is very important. It means we want this title to span more than one row. Those who are in the class of HTML, when you're creating a table, THTD, and merging those cells, you can remember those terms of that class. So we need this cell to be combined with this cell. Select it like that, in that order. Don't start from this left. Start from where the text is. Drag. I'm dragging to the right-hand side. You've selected that. Then from the design, from the layout, we can use merge cells. If you can see that. Click. You can see now we have got one continuous row. It doesn't stop there. It must be what?
Centered.
It must be centered. Very good. So Control E, center it underline. There are much more. There is a background color in that cell, the like. So if there's background, play with it. Select that cell alone, or with that alone. Even as you select it, you can see the color settings here, or you can still use this design tools. Click to put a shading you want, background. It doesn't stop there. If you look at the paper, there is a background, yes, but also the words differences between are also highlighted. It means you select the same words. This time round, you can use the highlighter, it's right here, or the background of these words. You can use even that one. So this is important to note, because for everything you do here is a mark for that. The next item is the star and there's the ring. Let's type that. Star, ring. What is special about this star and ring? Number one,
Vertical.
they are vertical. Number two,
They're bolded.
they are bolded. Very good. Number three,
Centered.
Centered.
they are centered. Very good. All those are individual marks. If you bold but you don't center, you miss a mark for that. You don't get all the 43 marks. So let's quickly do the text editing. Centered, bold. But now there's something more. Direction, isn't it? You get it from the layout menu. You're looking at that. So from layout, you can see what you call text direction. Click, and you can change it the way you want. You can place it as you want. Layout, text direction. This is responsible for that. Now the rest, I don't think you have a big issue typing that. I just type nodes, hubs, information. Very easy to do. Second phase, you can type connected, failure. Item number B. Let's look at this very quickly. This one adds the remaining 7 marks, 6.5. You get them from here. Apply each of the following formats. 1.7 centimeter page margins at the top and the bottom of the page. Now, how do we get the 7.5 margins? Because from the page layout, we pick the page setup. What we see here on margins, top margin is about 1 and some 2 dots, but we can't see centimeters. What do we do? What are you going to do?
The measurements to centimeters.
Yes?
Change the measurements to centimeters.
Very good. We change the measuring units to centimeters. How do we do that?
You go to options.
Where is options? Where are they? File.
Options.
Options.
I think it's on. I'm not sure which.
Okay, you're not sure which is which. Now that's very good. We use that. Actually, this is where you change everything about your machine, your settings of Microsoft Word from here. You can change so much on that. So our interest is to change the measuring units. Let me move this aside. And the units, I think you'll get them from advanced, if I'm not wrong. And then you use them from, you look for a button called, yeah, it's right here. Show measurement of units. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So the current measurements that were there by default were inches. Therefore, you're supposed to change it into centimeters because that's what the examiner is asking you to use. And even if the examiner mixes, because he can tell you use centimeters here, here it tells you millimeters or points or pixels. There's nothing wrong changing in the midst to get the exact measurement as instead of converting. Now we can now go ahead and specify what was told. Top margin, top and the bottom of page, 1.27 centimeters, top and bottom. So now you can play with that. Top 1.27, bottom 1.27. That's all that is required to just following instructions. That's all. How best can you follow instructions and the like? The next one is 2 centimeter hanging indent on the bulleted text under the title ring topology. 2 centimeter hanging indent. That's what matters most. You need to remember 2 centimeter hanging indent. Where are we applying to? Ring topology. So you go to ring topology. There it is, and do hanging indent 2 centimeters. So let me show you that very quickly. Ring topology is here. Select it. Go ahead to the paragraphing and hanging indent. You can see it right here. Change it to 2 centimeters. That's all. So it changes the distance between these two. That is what happens. But you can actually do it manually here by adjusting the hanging indent. But we are using the measurement, so we click on that. The other item you're checking is 1.5 line spacing on the bulleted text under star topology. So under star topology, 1.5 line. How do we get that? Select it under paragraph. Look for this line spacing. Can you see it?
Yes.
And then you choose 1.5, click on OK. That's done. The next item you're supposed to do is insert the text computer networks as a footer. How do we insert a footer here? Very easy. For header and footer, you can actually double click to turn on the header or turn on the footer, and then type the message you want. In this case, we're told computer networks. You're not told to center, you're not told anything, just type it as you're told. Next instruction, format the footer created as follows. Right aligned, 9, and the like. That's not a big deal. Done with the question. Any questions? Any questions for that? Any questions? Okay, very good. So there being any question, suppose you are the one doing it. Yes, Nimrod.
When you're told to print,
Yes.
how will you print since you don't have printers on?
No, you'll be given a printer now. You'll be given a printer.
Okay.
You don't have a printer, but you'll be given a printer during exam. So you'll be told how to print. Printing is not a difficult task. Most of you can do it. But what you're required is once you set all the settings as you're told, you click on File, click on Print. Print, you'll see the printer which is set up appearing there. Click Print for it to come out. But you're also given papers to insert in the printer. These are things we'll teach you We have not taught you this, neither did we demonstrate during your first practical, but we shall demonstrate it again. We shall do that. Nimrod, umesikia? Nimrod?
Yes, thank you.
Tutakuonesha how to
Yes.
do the printing. All right. Any other question? Okay. If there's no question, I think if you are to do it, could you get all the 50 marks? If you are to do it, if you are the one doing it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. That is impressive.
Yes.
Somebody's asking about paper group. Good. That's no problem. I can actually share it. Let me see if I can share it through this. Let me see if I can share it through your chat. Sorry, attach a file. Oh, this one takes me to the Dropbox, so I can't get it to you from here. And Google Drive. So sad. Sorry for that, but I'll share it. I'll share it on your groups. Then you can receive it. I'll share that. All right. If there's no question that is there, I wanted just to scroll for you to have a look at the second question. And I wanted to read, somebody read for us. Minyoki, just read for us the question. Question 2, read for us. Can you see the question?
Yes.
The management of a car hire company intends to maintain its records using a database. You have been tasked with creating the database.
That's all. So this is a database actually, you are being told, and most of you, we have done some practice. Some may have not done enough, but just a brief view of what the intention to, or what is intended to be understood. Number one is this: creating tables and their fields is not a big deal. The issue will be answering the questions, and I'm moving to the questions. It is here. Number one, you apply the primary key to the customers, drivers, and the like. So what is the most appropriate primary key for customers? Primary key?
Customer ID.
Customer ID. For drivers?
Driver ID.
Driver ID. For vehicles?
Vehicle ID.
Vehicle ID. For expenses? For expenses?
All the IDs.
So this is very important. It is not provided here. If you look at that question, there is nothing like that. It's only asking about the customers, drivers, vehicles. But you're not going to create expenses table without what? Primary key. Are we there?
Yes.
Yes, you
So,
cannot.
yes.
So what do you do? What do you create?
Expense ID.
Yeah. Expense
A
ID.
new field.
Very good. You can add a field called expense ID, and then you identify every expense uniquely in this transaction. Very good. The next question was creating relationships. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do that?
Yes.
Great. Great. That's something I should also be seeing, how to create a relationship. Not a very difficult area. The other one is using forms. That's not an issue. Enter data. That's not an issue. Another issue could be what you call calculated field. Question number C. Of all things we shall do, I'm interested for you to know how to do question number C. Because you are receiving a paper. Will you all attempt it so that next time we have a look at it before we meet?
Yes.
Yes.
Next time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need to attempt it, and then we pick it from there.
Yes.
And then report. Thank you very much. Because of that, I think we can then, let me see if I can able to share it to you. I'm going to send it through your groups, through your class teachers. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Any question? Any question so far? Have you learned something?
Yes.
Have you learned
Yes.
something?
Yes.
All right, great. Also, well, nice afternoon, and keep busy. You enjoy. Just relax, take a holiday now.